He combines human psychology and magic.
The genre of magic that I do is it's called mentalism. It's where I can figure out what people are thinking of.
He is a self-taught mentalist.
It's a mixture of body language, psychology, and magic. So there's a trick to it as well.
NewsX influencer A-list proudly recognizes Karan Singh for influence in the art of illusion. Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Parati Bhanot, and with us today is a very special guest. Now, he's known as Karan Singh Magic on the internet, and he does illusion. He can read your mind. I kid you not. With us today on the broadcast is Karan Singh. Karan, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pariti. It's a real honor and a privilege to be here. And I'm very excited to listen to everything. We've been talking a little bit, and it's so awesome that you're sort of bridging the gap between digital and television. And
awesome.
I'm really looking forward to
We're
this.
stoked to have you, and we're so glad you could join us. Firstly, Karan, and you've already told me the story, but I think everybody watching, I want them to know why you're called Karan Singh Magic.
So I think late 2000s, 2008, 2009, early 2010s, in my sort of social circle, my friends, everybody had a DSLR. And if you had a DSLR, it was almost compulsory that you have a Facebook page. So there's a friend of mine, Sahil Arora, he had Sahil Arora Photography. There was Divya Narayanan Photography. All these people had just photography pages because they had a DSLR. So a friend of mine made a Facebook page for me. And because everybody doing photography called their page photography, I did magic. So he called it Karan Singh Magic. And that name has just stuck since then. I think because Karan Singh is so common, I think people find it easier to say Karan Singh Magic.
So now you are identified as Karan Singh Magic. Even in public, somebody recognizes you, they go, "Hi, Karan Singh Magic."
Yeah, it's either Karan Singh Magic or KSM, or even if I'm doing shows, I'm introduced as Karan Singh Magic. Everywhere is just Karan Singh Magic.
So that's your brand now, right? In a certain sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you said that you made your account somewhere in the 2000s, 2008, 2009. Yeah. How did you get into magic?
I'd gone for a summer camp when I was 11 years old. This was 2002. And I met a magician there and he taught me a trick. And I'm like, cool, let's do this. And I started learning more and more from there. Around then, YouTube had just sort of was coming up. It wasn't that big. So I started looking at videos online, started doing Google searches for easy magic tricks, reached the 50th page of Google search results and just learned everything on the way. And then by day 10, I was a magician and I was just doing tricks 30 hours, performing for people as much as I could.
Wow. So you basically started your interest was peaked when you were 11 years old.
Yeah.
So did you then, pursue formal education, or were you very clear that you just wanted to be a magician?
I was very clear that I wanted to be a magician. My family wasn't. They wanted me to do like a professional career, do BCom from Delhi University and all of that. But yeah. I did see the point of it. So I did go to college, but I eventually dropped out in my final year because I'd started doing enough shows by then. The only formal education which is close to the field that I'm in, I studied theater. I went to London and I studied theater. That helps with performing on stage. And that's the only sort of formal education that I've had. But other than that, I've always, ever since I knew how to make any kind of decisions, the only thing was, this is what I love to do. And this is the only thing I want to do.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, or during your shows on the internet?
Yeah. For shows, I think when I started, because Karan Singh Magic, the moment you go up to somebody and say that I'm a magician, their first thought is, oh, can you make this disappear? Can you cut somebody in half? Can you take a rabbit out of a hat? That's the first thought when you hear magic. But the genre of magic that I do is it's called mentalism. It's where I can figure out what people are thinking of. And that could be random things like a word from a book. But then if you really sort of see what I've done in the last few years, it's people's personal secrets like ATM pins or phone passwords or the first person they had a crush on when they were a kid, things like that. And that really sort of caught on. And that's what I've sort of built a career with. So my entire show is now just me trying to figure out personal private secrets about people. And that's pretty much what I do online as well. Online, my social media is more of doing these similar tricks for celebrities as opposed to a live audience, because I think there's a certain charm in watching people who are somebody in their own field reacting the exact way that you would react if that happened to you. So it almost sort of humanizes them. And I think I really enjoy that. And I think people sort of kind of like that as well.
So I don't want you, and eventually during the course of this interview, I want you to do a magic trick on me, but we're
All
going
right.
to come to that later. First,
Go on.
Karan, very interesting, that you said that you can read people's mind because that's what a mentalist does, right?
Yeah.
Is a lot of it also to do with reading body language? I just want to know how this works because a lot of people are in awe, right? When you tell them that I can read your mind.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So of course, I won't tell you how I did it, but I'll give you a little bit of an idea. My most famous video is one with the captain of the Indian cricket team, Virat Kohli,
Yes.
where I asked him to think of a name of a childhood friend.
Correct.
And I figure out the name that he's thinking. The first thing I figure out is the first letter. And I actually tell you in the video how I'm figuring it out. Like I'm telling you how I'm doing it while I'm doing it. So I ask him to say the name to himself again and again. And if you see in the video, he did a little bit of this. It's very tiny. I'm exaggerating it right now, but that basically means that it's a pulsive sound in the beginning. So P or a B, because if you have to say P or B out loud, that will happen inevitably.
Yeah.
So I pick up on that and I say, oh, is that a P? And he says, yes. And then you sort of take it from there. The rest of it, of course, it's a mixture of body language, psychology, and magic. So there's a trick to it as well. And I'm mixing all of it. And that then gives the illusion that I can figure out what you're thinking. Wow. And I think it's the sort of area of uncertainty. Is it a trick or is it real? Is what scares people, and I kind of like that.
Okay, so very interesting. So let's say that do you think that if there was a formal course or a formal teaching that you could have, for people that are interested in art such as yours, do you think that could work and that could give a benefit, that could be beneficial for magicians?
I think, Paridhi, I've thought about this all my adult life because it is a beautiful art form and that people should learn it. But in a strange way, magic is the only art form in the world that once you learn it, it kind of sort of turns you away from it. Like, for example, I have a keyboard lying next to me. I know how to play the keyboard. If you learn how to play Saregama, you're like, great, I can play the Saregama and I can show my parents. With a trick, like if I told you I'm going to teach you how to figure out a name that somebody's thinking of, you think you'll get all these amazing powers, but the moment you know how the trick is done, you kind of get put off from it and you move away from the art form because you think, oh, that's silly. Yeah. And magic essentially is fairly silly because it's a silly trick behind it. It's the way it's being performed that does it well. So I've always, whoever's come up to me and says, can you please teach me? I tell them, go do your own research. And if 2 years from the date of you talking to me, you're still doing magic, come to me and I'll teach you everything I know, because it requires that 2 years of dedication from your own side. It's the only art form where you have to start on your own. It could be a magic kit that you pick up from a toy shop. It could be a magic book that you pick up from somewhere or something that you see online and you start looking up things because there's so much information on the internet. You can learn everything. When lockdown started, people started learning baked bread and dalgona coffee. If they learned magic, that would have been viral. So it's the same thing. If you learn something online, then I think magic is always learned better on your own as opposed to through an institution.
Very interesting thought, because we always think that if maybe you give formal education in something, people are more likely to succeed. But the fact that with magic, once the illusion goes, your interest also kind of just washes away is what you're saying, right? Which is
exactly
point well made. Okay, so before we let you go, Karan, and running out of time, and I need to wrap up this interview, but we want you to perform a small magic trick if possible.
Cool, awesome. Let's try it. Paridhi, very important. Firstly, you and I have not set anything up. I haven't asked you, please help me out or anything.
Nothing at all.
Perfect. And so can I ask you to think of, do you have a password on your phone?
Yes.
Is it a 3-digit password, 4-digit password, 6-digit password?
4-digit password.
4-digit. Are you comfortable with me trying to figure this out and tell everybody watching?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Unless someone takes my phone, which I don't think is
good. No, that's not going to happen. Also, you said, do I pick up on body language? I asked you, is it okay if we try to figure out and tell everybody? And you said, yes, absolutely. You shook your head no, but you said yes. But you've given me verbal consent, so I will try it. So Paridhi, in your mind, just say your password to yourself again and again. Whatever it is, just keep saying it 1 digit at a time. Think of the first digit, the second digit, the third digit, and then the last. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I have my calculator on my phone. I'm going to write down what I think your password is. I'm going to try to get as close as I possibly can. I might not get it exactly right, but I might have the 4 digits right, but not necessarily in the right order. I think should be that. I've written something down, Paridhi. I can't change what I've written. So for the first time, if I asked you in your nicest, clearest voice, what is the password to your phone? Tell us.
2580.
2580. Fairly common. I think that's something that a lot of people keep because I think it's just that line there and it's very easy to remember. There's no way I could have known that that's your password, though, correct? There's no way I could have known that's what you'll have.
Yeah. Correct.
I wrote down something, Paridhi, and I think everybody watching now should know your phone password.
Oh my God. I'm not sure if I don't know if I'm that predictable or if you're that good. What?
I think I wish I could tell you, Paridhi. My job will go away if I tell you how it's done.
All right. Awesome. That was brilliant. I'm actually a little blown away.
Thank you.
But thank you so much, Karan, for being with us. That's absolutely mind-boggling, and more power to you. Keep doing what you're doing, and I hope to see you live someday, hopefully soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Paridhi, and thank you to all the viewers. Go check me out online, Karan Singh Magic on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere.
A modern street magician.
I always like to consider myself a magician first because it's what I enjoy doing the most.
He wraps you in effortless illusion.
I was faced with a challenge at the start of the pandemic. How do I bring what I love the most, which is card tricks and close-up illusions?
NewsX influencer A-list proudly recognizes Vivek Desai for influence in the art of illusion. Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Paridhi Bhanot, and with us today is Vivek Desai. Now, Vivek is an illusionist. He's a magician. He specializes in card tricks, and he's going to do one with me just now. Vivek, the screen is all yours.
Okay. So like you said, I do specialize in card tricks, and you have interviewed several mentalists so far. And I feel mentalism works very well virtually because it's very impressive how you're reading my mind through the screen. But for card tricks, you have to be there in person. Otherwise, the feel isn't there. So I was faced with a challenge at the start of the pandemic. How do I bring what I love the most, which is card tricks and close-up illusions, to a virtual audience? And this is one of the first tricks I came up with. So I would love to share that with you. Okay. First of all, I'm just going to go through these cards, and you can see that they are all genuinely different.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. All different. Got it.
Yep. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a quick shuffle as well. So whenever you're happy, just say stop. With the cards, not generally, because that's person to person. Yeah.
Okay, stop the cards.
Okay. Should I finish this or should I just let it go?
Yeah, you can finish that.
Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to hold my hand like this the entire time in frame. All right. Now, before we recorded, I just asked you to make sure you have a wallet with you, right?
Yeah.
I didn't like tell you to get a specific wallet, or I didn't tell you to get a specific kind of nothing.
Nothing at all. I just have my wallet with me.
And there is cash in it, right? Can you take out a note? Can you take it out?
You want to take it out and show it on?
Yeah. Show it. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And what I'm going to do right now is just take out the first three cards that I shuffled, right? And you want me to shuffle again? I can do it.
No.
Okay, so there's a 2, there's a 9, and there's a 4, right?
Yeah.
2, 9, 4, and they're all different otherwise. But the first three cards are 2, 9, 4. You asked me to shuffle, you asked me to stop. Completely fair, and they're not all 2 9s and 4s because that would be a horrible trick otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's your note, you picked it.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, just look at the last 3 digits of that note.
It's 294.
And I'm just going to quickly.
How did you do that? But you didn't even see this note.
Okay, I'll tell you how I did it. I traveled from Pune to Delhi a couple of days ago when I found out this interview was happening, and I snuck the note into your wallet.
I wish I was in Bombay. I would love to move back, but unfortunately, I'm back here. All right, awesome. So now that we've seen the kind of illusions that you can do, the kind of magic, in fact, that you can do,
Yep.
Why don't you start by telling us a little, Vivek, about your journey? And because I know that you're dabbling in multiple different things, you're also an entrepreneur. You were just telling me.
Yep.
So what all is it that you're doing, and what has your journey been like?
I mean, entrepreneur is something that you're calling me, which I'm very flattered by. So I do own a comedy festival. It's India's largest comedy festival. So that is one thing I do besides performing. And nowadays, of course, I also stream and create other content on YouTube. But primarily, I always like to consider myself a magician first, because it's what I enjoy doing the most. And I started when I was a kid, when I was 10, 11 years old. And I started for the same reasons a lot of people start. You want to impress your friends. It's a very cool talent to have, and it's very unique. And I kept performing, looking for validation. And then I realized there's something you can get even better than validation doing magic, which is money. And I realized, oh, this is something I really like. And it's something which can actually sustain me. So I started performing professionally.
So you were doing live shows, and at what age did you start doing live shows? You were in college.
Yeah, around 16, 17. It's a really funny story. I started doing those gigs because I just wanted some extra pocket change. And my parents were never strict, but they were very disciplined with how they used to give me, pocket money. This is how much you can spend. This is how much you can't. And I'm really into games. And there was a video game console I wanted to buy called the Nintendo 3DS, and it's imported. So it was a lot of cost to bring it over and all that. My parents were like, no, I mean, just wait. Your exams are coming up. So I just thought, okay, what if I earn the money and buy it? They're like, okay, if you can do it, go ahead. And I actually did it. So they were surprised.
Oh.
And I then started doing more gigs, even after I just bought what I wanted to, because I really loved doing
magic. So tell me a little bit about the kind of, tricks that you do. We, of course, just saw one. Yeah. But you said that you specialize in cards. Is this something that you learned, or you just taught yourself how to do it?
It's a combination of both. So magic in general, a lot of people compare it to comedy in the sense that it's a stage art.
Yeah.
A lot of times. The difference though is that whereas comedy is completely based on original writing, magic has set principles which you then pick up and adapt to your own performance style. So cards, the fundamentals are something you of course have to learn, but the unique way in which I present them is something that I taught myself while performing. And like, it's something you get better at, right? Even if you're a comedian and you're doing crowd work, you understand how to read an audience and what they want, what they don't want.
So has, social media in a certain sense helped you gain traction and gain the kind of audience offline as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. It's a combination of the fact that they've seen you digitally, and also the fact that magic as an industry is fundamentally unknown. People don't know how to budget or how to book artists because itna understanding hi nahi hai. Like comedy, there are several comedians. So everyone knows generally what the commercials are and what the set is supposed to be like and how you're supposed to book them. Whereas magicians, like I'm sure you have covered other magicians now. So you know that it's just the same ring of 5, 10, maybe 15 people who are performing everywhere. So in that sense, digital media, especially for us, even more than anyone else, helps us value ourselves and brand ourselves in a certain way, which otherwise the industry would not be able to due to fewer people in it.
What I'm asking you is, Vivek, that when it comes to performing, right, or when it comes to getting a presence offline, do you think that it's important these days for artists, maybe such as yourself, to have a social media account? Is that something that has become non-negotiable now?
Oh, it's non-negotiable. I mean, definitely, especially if you're trying to sell tickets, right? Because why will someone buy a ticket for your show if they don't know what you're doing? So I would say absolutely it's necessary to have content online. Now, how often you post is a separate thing. Like I can give you an example of comedians again who have 3 or 4 videos, but all of them have 25, 30 million views. And they sell more tickets than someone who has 20 videos but with 1 million. But you definitely need to have a presence. That is non-negotiable. That I would 100%. I mean, if you want to grow, if you want to sustain yourself where you are, then probably word of mouth is enough on a local level. But if you want to grow nationally and even internationally, 100% non-negotiable.
So you have a comedy festival of your own. You are a magician. You're a social media influencer. You don't call yourself that, but we will call you that.
Sure.
So tell me something then, Vivek. What do you think is the need of the hour, or what do you think comedians, or forget comedians, what do you think magicians and illusionists in India need right now? What do you think the illusionists community in a certain sense needs?
So if this was like 3 years ago, I would probably give you a like a long lecture about how perception needs to change in India, because everyone looks at a David Blaine or a Dynamo or Chris Angel, right, abroad, and they look at that and they're like, oh, that's amazing. I would love to see that. But the perception in India of magic is just what it was, 40 years ago, where it is people in, which is fine, like that is part of the art.
Yeah.
But now, I would say the perception has already changed, because like I think you did with Karan and Suhani. So these two guys done a great job, and now more people know that there are modern mentalists and magicians in India.
Yeah.
So I would just say more of that. We need more people getting good numbers on social media, both Instagram and YouTube, because that will help break out the stereotype of what magic used to be.
And how do we drive that? And now I'm just picking your brain, Vivek. How do we drive that? Do you think we need magicians to start a magic school to kind of help younger and budding magicians? How do you think that can work?
So
what are possible?
There are actually several budding magicians already in India. I don't think the issue is so much transfer of knowledge as it is converting that knowledge into traction. A lot of people know how to do tricks. I would tell you honestly, like I'm very good at card magic technically, but I know one or two people in India who are technically even better than me. But they're going in a very different field. They're doing more consultation with other magicians and all that. They're choosing not to promote themselves as much. But what we need basically is a genre for comedy. I keep coming back to comedy because it's the closest example I can give to a successful stage art in India. What magic should be. There's a set path. Like you put out a video on YouTube, it does well. You start doing ticketed shows, then you start getting brand work, you start getting corporate shows. So I don't know if there's a set path like that for magic. And we need more people to become successful the same way Karan and Suhani have, and I hope to some extent I have too. So that people know, okay, I am skilled. Now I have to be entertaining and interesting, and I have to put out content. And then, if my content is good, it will take care of itself. So we need a path forward, and for that we need more people coming up.
All right, we hear you, and we hear you loud and clear, and we're going to, of course, continue to help budding artists and influencers and magicians such as yourself to go on this path and create your own roads and futures ahead. But thank you so much, Vivek, for joining us on Reflex, and it's been a pleasure to have you. He displays a touch of magic and illusion.
Magic in India, it's still new and thriving. So social media helps a lot in putting that your skill out in the among the people.
He amazes with a sleigh of hand and mind.
Being from performing magic for people, they're entertaining people. It's just like any other other work alternative.
NewsX influencer A-list proudly recognizes Kunal Newar for influence in the art of illusion. Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Parati Pranod, and with us today is Kunal Newar. Now, Kunal on Instagram has close to 50,000 followers, and he's an illusionist. He's a mentalist. He can read my mind. He can read your mind. Kunal, thank you so much for joining us on Influencer A-List, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Parati, for having me here. Thank you.
What was the age, Kunal, that you started doing magic full-time?
Full-time, professionally.
Yeah.
So professionally, I've been doing since I came to Pune. Okay.
When did you come to Pune? So you're from Guwahati, Assam. And
Yes.
when did you come to Pune? And why did you come to Pune?
2012. So so after that incident, I started focusing on my studies, and I did my engineering. I'm a BTech engineer in mechanical. So after that I got a placement in Pune. So I came to Pune, and then after that, when I was in a training period in my office, so I had that memory of magic, right? So and in Pune there was a local magic shop. So when I came to Pune, that really intrigued me. So I went to that shop and I started learning something from there, and I started showing it to my friends. So they were really encouraging. My friends were really encouraged. Okay, so after that I started performing for the friends, for local charitable organizations from the office, like there are organizations. Right? So I started performing there. So from that time, I started actually earning from performing magic. Okay. So after that, what happened was I moved to MP, so Madhya Pradesh. So I got a job in a government organization in a refinery. So what happened was at that time I was still working. So I was doing magic as a hobby and doing a job. So what happened was I was when I moved to MP, it's refineries are in an outskirt location, right? In a kind of villages and all. So it's slowly I what do you say? I got detached from magic. because work pressure was so much. So I couldn't perform. So I really got depressed at that time. So I called my mom and said, it's not working out. Like I'm really like getting depressed. I'm not focusing on my work. So because everything that's going on in my head was magic. So I was just into all those learning new things and all. So I said, I'm not going to do this job anymore. She said, like, why? Like, it's a very good job. It's a dream job. People like work really hard for this job. And I started convincing them like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Do you think it was more about convincing them, but also convincing yourself, to take that leap?
Exactly.
There's risk involved, right?
It's a huge risk involved because, like I said, it's a dream job for everyone. Like working in a government organization, working in a refinery, it's like a dream job. So I told my mom like that, and it took time convincing them because obviously parents, they are worried for their children, right? They see that their child is working in such a good organization, and he suddenly wants to leave everything and go like performing tricks and all. So, but I started convincing them. I showed them profiles of people who are already successful in this art form, like David Copperfield, David Blaine, and all those kinds of. Even in India, there are a lot of brilliant performers. Yeah, performers. So I showed them their profile and told them they are working hard. They are doing good. They are earning from performing magic for people. They are entertaining people. It's just like any other other work alternative. Yeah. So and slowly I started convincing them. And one day what happened was still they were not convinced. I was really frustrated. I was really depressed. I just ran away from the company. I just went home. I just took a leave and went home. And I was like, nahi jana hai mujhe wapas. I don't want to go back. So they told me like, go back, do the proper way, give a resignation and come. I said, no, mujhe jana hi nahi hai. Like I was there. And I started performing in Guwahati for a few months. Okay. So I started doing shows. And one day there was a stage show. I just got a stage show and I went there. I told my parents, come see what I do. Okay, so they were there. They came. They saw the show. It was a terrible show. I was like just starting out, right? But for me, I was on a stage. Like it's something different. Like performing for hundreds and hundreds of people. So for me, it was like I was a superstar. So I just with that attitude, I performed, and it for them, for the people, it was really good. For me, it was not that good at all. If I see the video, it's really cringy. Okay, but yeah, they saw the show, and when I went home, my mom said, "ठीक है. Okay, you take it as a career. You have our support, but go to your office, do a proper resignation, and come back."
Yeah,
I did that. I came back. I started performing. I performed for 1 year. Then what happened was all my friends were in Pune. So we came as an entire group when we joined the company. So they were like, Aja Pune, like Mumbai is also nearby. You'll get a good reach of people. Then I came to Pune and I came back on around 2014. And I started performing and started doing full-time shows. I started with birthday shows. Then I moved to weddings and then corporates and then television shows, all those kinds of stuff. Yeah. So,
okay, so then tell me something, you said you're in 2014, you started magic full-time.
12, like, 12 I was doing, then I had a break of 1 year.
Okay. Yeah. So in 2014, you put your heart and soul into it and said, now I'm going to be a magician full-time. I'm going to be an illusionist.
Yes.
So then tell me, how did social media help you? Did Instagram help you take forward your career? Was that in any way helpful? Because you have a lot of followers there.
Yes, of course. It helped me a lot because putting out your content to the people for their entertainment, for their inspiration, it helps a big deal. Like when you are like in a field that I do, that is performing. So it gets your name out. It gets what you do, what your work is to the people, and it acts kind of an awareness that something like this exists. This is an art form, because magic in India, it's still new and thriving. So social media helps a lot in putting that your skill out in the among the people.
And has your social media presence also helped you bag new shows, let's say bigger shows in any way?
I didn't get you, like the videos that I post out, the content that I post out.
So, okay, so tell me something. Let's break this down. How regular are you, in posting on social media? Do you post as much on Instagram and YouTube? What is your routine like?
I frequently do. I try to be more frequent on Instagram because with the upcoming of Reel and all, because earlier there was like 1 minute video and there was like photos. So I used to take time because on Instagram, I try to put out as much as quality videos as possible. It's not like I just take out my camera and just shoot and like post it. I do a lot of work on the editing and all, the music and all. I choose the music very carefully. Like with the effects that I do, I also select. If you see my videos on Instagram, you'll see that the music is going along with the tricks and effects that I am doing. So yeah, with the Reel that has come up, so I try to post it more frequently because there's a very short video, just the effects, then this and done. So with the Reels, I started posting almost regularly.
And are you monetizing your social media content?
On YouTube, yes. Instagram, I haven't done it yet. I still get a lot of brand promotions and all. But the thing is, I don't consider myself as an inspiration. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Social media. What do you say? What do you say that?
Influencers?
Sorry.
Influencers.
So I don't consider myself as an influencer. I couldn't even pronounce the name correctly because I mostly believe in the learning aspect of it, like putting out materials that people can learn. The entertainment aspect of it, like they see the videos, then they see and enjoy. Like they don't have to do anything, just have to open it and enjoy the performances. So that's the kind of thing that I believe in, like when I'm posting on social media. And on YouTube also, I post videos like that, like motivational videos, then teaching magic tricks, then performing magic tricks. So I post around 4 videos on YouTube, and each of them are categorized like it's Monday motivation, Tuesday tutorials, Fun Friday, and shorts on Saturday.
Okay, I get it. So basically streamlining the process of uploading has kind of also helped you gain more attraction and gain more viewers, and sort of, having a schedule throughout the week is something that helps, from what I understand.
Yes. So we have to be more consistent. Like people, when you put out a routine, then for example, 1 week you put out, and next week people, they start expecting your videos during that time. And time is also very important. Even if I upload a video today at 11 o'clock, next week people will be expecting a video at 11 o'clock. So we have to be consistent with that as well.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kunal, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation. More power to you and more power to the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. And if you want to ask anything else, I'm here. Yeah.
All done. All good.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.